And Khidr alayhi salam kills the boy. And now Musa alayhi salam is more than just angry, because he remembers that he accidentally killed a man in Egypt. And what suffering he suffered because of this. So he's very angry now. He's demanding an explanation. Why did you do this? This boy is innocent. And then they came to a town which was very inhospitable, would not offer any hospitality, very much like Lower Manhattan. And not even if they're prepared to pay for it, these people would not show hospitality to Khidr alayhi salam and Musa alayhi salam. Probably think they're terrorists. But there's a wall which someone had constructed. And this wall was crumbling. And Khidr alayhi salam, from his own pocket, he pays for the wall to be rebuilt. And Musa can't understand. Why would you pay to do this in a town which does not show even elementary hospitality? You could at least demand a refund of the amount that you have spent. What is important about these three events is that on each occasion, Musa alayhi salam formed his judgment based on external observation. External observation and rational analysis. And yet, on all three occasions, he was wrong. Suratul Kahf is knocking at your hearts, warning you, Singapore, that in the age of Dajjal, if you depend only on your external observation and rational investigations to formulate your judgment, you will be wrong. Why? Because Dajjal comes with two things: a river and a fire. But his river is a fire, and his fire is the cool waters of a river, said the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. In other words, that appearance and reality will be completely different from each other in the age of Dajjal. It looks good, but it ain't good. It's dangerous. It looks bad, but the reality is different. It is good. Just like durian. You don't judge a durian by the external smell. Huh? You judge the durian by the internal taste. The external smell belongs to hell. Although some people would disagree with me. But internal taste belongs to heaven, although some people might also disagree with me. Anyhow. In the age of Dajjal, appearance and reality are going to be completely different from each other. And so if judgment is based on external observation and rational inquiry alone, you're going to be wrong. And you'll pay a terrible price for your wrong judgment. Khidr alayhi salam explains, he says, this boat, what appeared to you to be bad was actually good. There is a king, a government which is coming, seizing people's property. And they're going to be seizing this boat. By scuttling the boat, damaging it, I saved the boat. So when the king is gone, then the poor fishermen can repair their boat. It looked bad to you, but actually, I did them a favor. This little boy, you sometimes plant a seed, and you get a rose. And sometimes you plant a seed, and you get a scorpion. So when you sleep with your wife, make dua, oh Allah, this seed which I plant, grant that it may grow into something good and beautiful. Ameen. Rabbi habli min as-salihin. So, this child was destined to grow into such a devil that his parents' fate would have been threatened. And by killing the child and praying to Allah to send them another child who would be qurratu a'yun for them, I was doing something good for them, but you couldn't see that. And this wall, you see this town? In this town there was a mu'min, a believer, who was dying. He had 2 little children, orphans, they're going to be orphans. And he had some money. But just like Lower Manhattan, he couldn't find a single person he could trust. None. Who can I give this money to? And ask them, please keep it until my children grow up. You can't trust a single person in that town. Is Singapore like that? So what he did was he had to dig a hole. Because he couldn't trust anybody. And bury the money. If you want to do that, make sure nobody is looking. And then having buried the money, he then built a wall. And prayed to Allah that when his children grow up, that Allah will guide them to the money. And since the wall was crumbling, my Lord instructed me to do this, Musa, alayhi salam. And so knowledge can come from above. And instructions can come from above. And guidance can come from above. But Uncle Sam doesn't believe that. What we are introduced to here is a branch of knowledge which is called epistemology. What is knowledge? Is it possible for us to acquire knowledge? And how is knowledge acquired? The Quran teaches us, if you acquire knowledge, that knowledge wherein there is no doubt, never becomes obsolete, like the computer from 10 years ago. كلا لو تعلمون اليقين. If you had that knowledge which is born of certainty, knowledge which comes directly from Allah, لَتَرَوُنَّ الْجَحِيمِ, you would be able to see the hellfire. And so, yes, knowledge is possible. But remember, the knowledge doesn't only come this way. It also comes this way. Remember that in addition to knowledge externally derived, knowledge is also internally, intuitively, spiritually acquired. The companions were sitting, talking amongst themselves, and the Prophet came and sat with them, alayhi salatu wassalam, in the masjid. And this was after the farewell Hajj. They had returned to Medina. And so he has only about 81 days left in his blessed life. This is the last part of his life. When suddenly a stranger entered into the masjid, dressed all in white, black hair, spotlessly clean, no dust upon him. Yet no one could recognize who he was, and he was not a traveler. So, what happened? He dropped out of the sky? This is mystery. This is suspense. This is drama that will continue to remain with us until the end of the world. Who is this man? And he came and sat directly in front of the Prophet ﷺ.